Hi everyone, today we are going to be doing a foundation wear test. We're going to be doing the MAC Studio Fix Everywhere. So it comes in this like pen dispenser. And this isn't the first time I've worn it, just the first time I'm wearing it on camera. And it's meant to be something that you can use as a concealer or a foundation. So it is 0.41 ounces. Most foundations are a fluid ounce. And I believe most concealers, let me see what I have that I can compare it to. Most concealers, so this Givenchy concealer is 0.37 ounces. So it has more in the packaging compared to a concealer, not a foundation. I'm going to be using it as both today. So I'm going to do all over the face as a foundation, obviously. And then it won't brighten compared to the concealer, or compared to the foundation, but I'm going to use like an under eye brightener just to try to give it a little bit of lightness underneath. And we'll see. Ignore my nails, they are chipping like crazy. And I've been painting. So, you know, it is what it is. I have one more round of painting today, and then I don't have to paint one of our bathrooms ever again, and that's going to be really nice. So, anyway, let's get started. I have the shade NC25, which is what I usually have in MAC. It's a little light, I think, but also I'm already starting to tan. This is one squeeze. There's a dispenser on the bottom and it comes out the top. So let's just, so this is gonna look light, okay? And yellow. Some MAC foundation matches seem much better than others on me. Like their formulas have slightly different shade availabilities. So like in Face and Body, they have a C, and the C's are my favorite, but so it blends out fairly easy with a sponge. And like I said, this would do better if I had kind of a more slippery base, and that's why it's kind of going on a little thicker and not blending quite so well. But it's not that it's not blending, it's just with the sponge, when you're trying to pat things in, if stuff is fairly thick, the sponge can take a minute to like move it all around. So that's one side of my face with, one side of my face without, and using the sponge for application, we'll do a brush on the other side. I think it looks pretty good. I don't wear it at a super like high coverage, which is kind of just like how I've been doing my makeup more lately anyway, but we will test of its opacity when we use it as a concealer. I'm going to use my super reliable Sephora 56, which is this one right here. It sounds like I have a lisp, and it's because my Invisalign makes me sort of lispy, and I'm only like 3 weeks away from being done with them, which is gonna be just the nicest thing in the world. I've definitely been getting like sick of them towards the end of the treatment plan. So you can see blending a thicker foundation like this does go way faster with a brush, because you can really just drag it to blend it. I don't know, I could build it up on my nose, I guess. I have redness in my nose. So this is just tapping the brush into what's left on the back of my hand and building it up a little there. And then just here as well. That's the face, and then we're gonna do concealer with it as well. Okay, plot twist. I can't find, I was gonna use my Becca under eye brightener, and I just can't find it at all. So I'm gonna use this one from Bobbi Brown, which isn't, it's like a peachy corrector, but it's not really brightening. But we'll just kind of see how that goes anyway. Use the tiny little mirror. I don't think this is gonna do what I wanted that to do, but I can't find it. And I'm probably staring at it right now. It's peachy, but it's not bright. I think we're just gonna have to go for it and see what happens. Another little, why am I getting air bubbles? That's frustrating. Feels like it's something I've never used before when it does that. Then for a concealer brush, I'm going to use my teeny tiny little Pat McGrath concealer brush. I really, really like this brush. And I'm just gonna tap it in, and I do think it covers well as a concealer for under eyes, and we'll just have to see how it wears in that thicker layer under the eyes. I'm not unhappy with how that looks overall. See, it's such a nice little brush. And I think I'm gonna powder under one eye and not under the other, just so we can get a feel for what that might do. I will use this Charlotte Tilbury powder under my eyes. One, because I'm trying to use it up. But two, because I use it a lot and I know it's a pretty light powder. So let's just powder this one. Yeah, and it looks alright. Oh god, I just swept my eyeball. The dog just healed, but only once. Okay. So I think it looks good powdered. Overall, like there's a little bit of tack to my skin. I'm gonna set it with the Kosas powder, just a little on the cheeks. This is what my Kosas powder looks like right now. And I tried to depot it because I wanted to take it on a trip with me, but I didn't want to bring the bulky packaging because it's pretty bulky. But anyway, I tried to depot it, and that's that little chip right here. It did not work, and I cracked it, so I just sort of stopped there. But this little chip shows the clay pan because it's baked, so that's the little clay pan that's baked on, which gives me a really good reference point for how close I am to fit. I mean, there's still like a lot of powder, but I feel like I don't think I've ever finished up a powder. And so being this close on a couple of powders is this like very, very oh, I was only gonna powder one side. No, I wasn't. I don't know what my plan was. Anyway, so I'm just here on the cheeks, and that's really just for blending. I like this Kosas powder actually quite a bit because it like sets, but it doesn't really mattify that much. It just sort of takes a little bit of glow down, but still allows the finish of the foundation to be there, which I really enjoy. I have the new Armani Luminous Silk Glow Liquid Bronzer. I have mine in the shade 100. These just came out maybe like a week ago, and I've heard that they used to have these and then they didn't have them anymore. I did not try them before. There is a little bit of like gold. I don't know if the camera's gonna be able to show you. Yeah, you can see sort of the gold reflect that's in it. It doesn't really, like, you can see it when it's like out, but it's very, very subtle. But a lot of Armani's liquid products do have that glow. So this is shade 100. And I'm gonna use just this like dense flat brush. It's the Sigma like Taylor Wynn collab. And I just didn't realize that the marking can come off the handle so much. So I'm just gonna tap this on. And I have worn it without having powdered first, so I'm curious to see how it blends with powder. Overall, I think pretty well. And you really just don't need much of it, which is also kind of nice. And then I think it blends really well for being a liquid, sometimes liquids can just sit where they first touch and not move. And this one is doing great, even over powder. I did not powder my forehead. I think this looks nice. I'm gonna have to like really look at it with a better mirror, but I think it's looking pretty good. I have this Bobbi Brown blush. This is the brightening blush in Blushed Coral. So I'm just gonna grab some of that. These are really pretty. I don't know. I know Bobbi Brown kind of like fell off for a while because it was kind of like just boring, I guess, is maybe like they just didn't seem like they were doing anything interesting, and they're really, you know, kind of just relying on their classics. And now their stuff is not, it's stuff like this is just like a very small collection of blush, but they're very good blushes, and you know, they came out at the right time, and because it's such a small little limited release, it doesn't give you that same like pressure that the larger releases do to feel like you have to buy like a ton. And granted, if you wanted all of their blushes, like, yeah, that's a lot of pressure, but you don't need them all. So it's nice to be able to just grab, you know, one pretty blush if that's what you're after. I bought two, the Blushed Coral and the bronze one, I think. I am tempted to like get the other ones, but I just don't need them, and I know that. And it's blush season because all seasons are blush season now. And there's so many things coming out. I'm waiting for the new Hermes blushes to come to Selfridges because they will be less expensive on Selfridges by a pretty significant amount, but dang, it's hard to wait. Okay, that feels like too much blush, which means it's perfect. And I'm just gonna do a little on my nose. That was also a lot on my nose, that's okay too. I don't really have much in the way of highlights that's new. I've been trying to like go back and use stuff that I have, in part because it's like, you know, especially, okay, if you're the kind of person who likes makeup a lot, so you have a lot of makeup, one of the things that makes the sort of continuous cycle of makeup hard is that you don't get to spend a lot of time like actually loving things because you have to move on so quickly to the next thing. And I don't know, that's just started to like bum me out a little bit because on the one hand, like I love trying new things and seeing, you know, what there is out there, but then, you know, you buy things because you want to love them, and then hopefully that works out, but you only use it for, you know, 2 weeks because then something else came out. 2 weeks is probably an exaggeration, but maybe not. You know, like right now I'm talking about it's blush season, and there are probably like 5 or 6 blush releases that I'm looking forward to, and like that's a lot of blush, and I already own a lot of blush. So then thinking about like adding a whole bunch more, and it's like, but then when do you appreciate anything? Anyway, this was MAC Oh Darling Extra Dimension Skin Finish. I really like those highlights. I have a couple of them in that formula. Highly recommend, and I guess it works because I have the MAC foundation on, which wasn't intentional, but. And then, this is so stupid, but I bought this. This is the NARS Laguna Quad. I've swatched it in stores so many times, and even like swatched it, left the swatches on my hand, came home, swatched other things to try to be like, you do not need it. And I, you know, like I know that I didn't need it, but also it's like such a perfect little quad for me and for summer. So I bought it. So we're gonna use it for the first time right now because why not? So And I wasn't really planning on doing eyeshadow here, but I figure I have this, so might as well. So I'm grabbing the matte shade. I don't usually prime my eyes. I should. I have eye primers to use up, but whatever. I like this matte shade a lot. It's because it's just like, here's the thing. It's a very simple palette. I know that. You know that. But having your perfect, simple shades is kind of an accomplishment. And I've been really into just like easy eye looks lately. And I think that's because I've just gotten kind of overwhelmed with choice when it comes to eyeshadow, and then I buy more, but whatever. And also wanting to focus more on like blush or really wearing like a statement lip. And it's not that you can't do both, but I just find like if I want to wear like, you know, a bright orange lipstick, I like that look better on me with a fairly like simple eye look. And yeah, so it's just made me really into like easy eyeshadow. And then even yesterday I wore some of my Cliona shadows. I wore 2 of them, but I just wore those, like one shade all over the lid, one shade inner corner and like brow bone. And it was just so easy and so pretty, but I didn't really have to think about what I was doing. And I think that's part of it too. Like, I just don't want to think about it. I feel like I have to think about a lot of things lately. So now I'm taking the darker shimmer. Yeah. Look at how pretty that is. See, it's just like sometimes simple stuff leads you down a really nice road and it just doesn't take you as long to get there. And I can appreciate that right now. So now I'm gonna go into the lighter, like satin metallic color and do that everywhere else on the lid. I like that. And then I'm gonna take that shimmer shade. Oh, I should have swatched this for you, huh? Anyway. That shimmer shade is really just like a topper. I'm gonna take a little of the matte and I'm gonna put it underneath. So this is no additional product either. I'm just kind of blending this up a little more. But I think that is really, really pretty. Okay, I'm gonna do, oh, you know what, let me swatch this. So those are the swatches of this little quad, and the shades don't individually have names, at least on the packaging anywhere, so that is that. I also really like the little bronzy orange compact. All right, I'm gonna do mascara, eyebrows, and then I will be done. All right, back with finished makeup. So mascara was MAC, what is this? Stack mascara. This is the Richard Quinn packaging, so it's limited edition packaging, but it's the same formula. This is the Tom Ford Fiber Brow Gel in Chestnut. This is the Gucci pencil in shade 3. And then on my lips is the Westman Atelier lip balm in the shade Popsicle, which I believe was a limited edition shade, but it was a nice little bright gloss, so felt like a good one. I will do check-ins with the foundation. I'll try to do one at about 4 or 5 hours and then one about 8-10 hours. 8 to 10 hours is usually how long I leave my makeup on. I usually take off my makeup like pretty late in the evening, and that has to do with me just being kind of like lazy at the end of the day and forgetting to take it off. So it'll probably be about 9 o'clock. Look at, this is one of the reasons I'm sick of my Invisalign. No matter what kind of lip thing I put on, how I put it on, it will get on my trays. I will be back in about 4 hours, and then I will be back after that in 4 to 5 more hours to check in and let you know how this foundation is going. But so far, I think it looks really, really good. And and it applied well, so we'll just see what the wear test has to say about it all. See you soon. It's very hard to get a charming angle in my backyard because it's a kiddie pool for the dog. Anyway, so here it is in very bright natural light. So you can see, ooh, glitter. I've clearly touched my face about. Worn off of my chin, that's pretty normal. I don't think it looks super heavy anywhere. And yeah, from a distance, I think it looks really good still. No fading. Not really any significant like bunching up anywhere. Alright, see you again in a few hours. It's 10:30, so this is, what is that? I mean, at least like 11 hours. Anyway. Pretty good. I hope this was helpful.